Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We have a jam-packed video today. We've got three sort of major bits of news for the upcoming week. Plus, I'll do a quick update to my legendary tier list as well. Obviously, you can find my tier list on my Discord, which should be linked in the description of every video. First bit of news you might have already seen. It's already live in-game. The Chosen Soul Summon Pool. Wow. Ooh. So here we go. You can, hang on, where do we get? Can we get a free? We should be able to get a free summon from somewhere, quote unquote free, from the Dragon Tournament. Max out the Dragon Tournament, you get one free go at the summon pool. Is there good stuff in there? Yes, taking a quick glance, all of these legendaries are extremely good. They are all great, and the epics, yep, we've got some extremely good epics. So there's lots of really strong champions in here. But yeah, I mean, with the epics, it's a 4 to 6 star. That's quite nice. The legendaries is only 2 to 6 star, and like it's a 40% chance to be a 2 star. It's a 30% chance to be a 3 star. It's most likely only 28% chance to be legendary in the first place, and then 70% of the legendaries you're getting are 2 or 3 star. It's just a fairly low value event. Like if you have the resources for Dragon, sure, you know, there's no harm in getting it and doing a free pull. You might win the lotto and you might, you know, get something great. You might, most likely, you're going to get something totally useless. But it's okay, right? I certainly think as a new player, if you're using certainly the epics, you might be using many of these epics for dungeons or faction wars, Curse City, whatever. And yeah, getting a decent soul for the epic is, you know, actually not too bad. But yeah, it's fine. I will get the free summon. I'm not too excited about it. Obviously, these events are very much targeted at very large spenders. So, you know, someone who's going to come in, a relatively new player, they're going to be purchasing a huge amount of shards. They're going to have a huge amount of champions, but not have souls for them. And they're going to purchase this to get souls for then their champions, right? So you're looking at extremely high spenders. I think for the most part is what these events are targeted at. Again, getting the free pull is nice, but that's sort of about it in my opinion. Now, the big news though, here we go. The Pirates Path event. Yo ho ho. Shiver me timbers, it's happening on Thursday, this Thursday, the 26th of March, and it is a guaranteed event for Edward Kenway, yes. It'll be up for, I've deleted it, I think it's 96 hours, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Points by upgrading champions, so champion training, and summoning champions from shards, so a summon rush event. That's actually a pretty decent breakdown, especially because it's over 4 days. I do suspect this is going to be incredibly point intensive, particularly if you want to get all the stuff in here, because not only do we have the champion, there's also his 5-star soul, an avatar frame, 400 Titan points, and other rewards, probably like mythical skill tomes, maybe an eternal soul shard, like stuff like that. It's gonna be crazy expensive. I would not be shocked if you're looking at approximately 20 sacred shards to get the champion, another 15 sacred shards to get the perfect soul, could be another 10 sacred shards to get the Titan points, maybe another 5 to get the avatar. You know, it could easily be a huge amount of shards. So I might even be undershooting, to be honest. But I mean, you could easily be looking at 50 sacred shards to completely clear this. You're not forced to do sacred shards only. Of course, you could be mixing and matching any particular shard types in there. Sacreds are typically the best for these summon rush events, but you know, sometimes they'll boost up ancients a little bit in these heroes paths, make them more valuable. We'll see. I'm sure we'll get news on the summon events for this later in the week. I've got CVC summon news, but not for this yet. Will be later in the week. I'll share it as soon as I have it. But yeah, because champion training is worked in, right? Champion training is something that you can really grind. And I think for an end game player, champion training gets a bit rough. Like, I mean, I'm not even joking when I say, if I even look at for tournaments and stuff, if I'm looking at even epic champions that I can book, like I have like nothing, right? I'm booking epics that I'm just going to use as food just to get champ training points, right? I get a lot of epic books for free from being a content creator, which is why I've got so ludicrously many. But yeah, like, you know, end game players, there's not all that much champion training to do, but for early game, for mid game, even late game players, champion training is something that if you sink energy into it, you still need champions for. Everywhere in the game. You probably have tons of champions that you could build. So it's really decently good value. And yeah, it's something you can grind. You can use brews to grind it pretty quickly as well, which is cool. If you've saved up any chickens, you can use those. Again, I get loads of 5-star chickens. I have more than I can possibly spend for being a content creator. It is crazy. So yeah, I think this is okay. I think if you want Edward, you can actually probably get away and get this time-limited champion with a much small, I said about 20 sacreds. You could probably get away with far fewer than that, but really make a lot of time to grind out champion training and use up your brews, use your chickens, get stuff leveled, and you could make a good stab at him. Or you could potentially, if you've got a good chunk of shards, you could get the champion and you could potentially grind for his soul or grind for the Titan points if you want. Yeah, the Titan points, I mean, I think this Titan event is very optional. There's 1,500 points to get the final milestone. You can skip 250. So even if you have gotten every single Titan point from every single event, apart from this Hero's Path for Edward, apart from the Pirate Path, you still need to get 150 Titan points from that Hero's Path. You can probably do it without pulling any shards. You could probably get 150 points just with champion training and just treat it like, oh, there's 150 points in a big champion training event. That's probably what you'd have to do. But yeah, you cannot skip. If you want to do this, you can't skip the Edward thing. You're going to have to sink for 150 Titan points. It's going to be a fairly substantial investment either in champ training or shards. So yeah, I think a lot of people are probably skipping this. It's just not crazy high value. Like, it's okay, but yeah, and that means you might be skipping the Edward event. Let's talk about Edward himself. Is he good? Is his soul good? I think Edward is a good champion. He's not like a game changer. He's not insane. He's not a must-have. I think he's quite like Pelops, honestly. And like, he does some stuff that's pretty cool. So with Edward, he does have a triple hit, which is pushing back turn meter by 25% if he crits. He can do a 75% turn meter pushback on a triple hit. That's actually really cool. And it can't be resisted if he's got Veil or Perfect Veil. Like, that's awesome. That's super handy for new players, for Fire Knight stuff. Super handy. It's great. It's a very strong little A1 for Arena as well. Like, that is good. He can be placing it's on this passive, Ensnare debuff, which stops enemies gaining turn meter. That's cool. He brings in a block revive. He can do some decent damage as well. He gives Perfect Veil to other assassins. Very niche, but it's there. He's got the AoE with damage. He can do some turn meter push back. He can sleep. He could be ensnared. He's okay. He's not bad. He's not a must-have champion, though. I did a full showcase of him with Ezio, and I'm pretty impressed with them together. They're a nice duo. One thing I do like about Edward, he's got the double hit AoE, and there's a decent chance he's going to be placing Ensnare. Each hit is a 50% chance to place Ensnare. He's got a decent chance to place it. I think you've got a pretty nice synergy there. You run him fast with the new deflection set. The deflection set, when you place debuffs, it can remove an extra point of total guard, which is nice. Or if you're running him with someone like a Fabian, you could lock them out. One hit from Fabian, follow up with double hits from Edward, and there you've removed the total guard. Potentially, he does steal all buffs. If they've got Stone Skin instead, you might steal their Stone Skin. Very strong with his A1 for keeping enemies with 9-piece Mercurial from getting back to their turn and getting the total guard back. He's got an Ignore Stone Skin, Block Revive. He's got such a great kit in terms of utility. Damage isn't amazing. And yeah, like I said, there's no question. He's also like Basim. Basim, very similar. I do have Basim. I've got the fragments for him. I just haven't pulled him yet. Basim is a very good champion, but he's not an amazing champion. He's not a batshit crazy, blow your mind, this champion is bust, kind of like a Siegfried, right? He's not on that level. And Edward is something similar. Is he a good champion? He's a very good champion. Is he Mariska? Is he Joan? Is he Titus or Cecilia? Like, no, he's not. But he's very good. So yeah, it's a difficult one to know whether or not to recommend it. Yeah, like, if they did a guaranteed event for Joan, it would be like, okay, it doesn't matter. No matter what resources you have, spend everything to get her. With Edward, it depends where you're at and what you need to prioritize for your account. I think he's decent, he's good, he's usable. He's certainly not a must-have, but he's cool. He is time limited. He will be gone, and this is the chance to get him. So if you want Edward, I think he's very popular as well. Like, a lot of people just like the character. If you want him just because you like the character, it was your favorite Assassin's Creed game. That's pretty common. My AC Shadows, fight me. But if Black Flag, and there's a Black Flag remake coming, I think, maybe next year. I think it got pushed back, but it should probably be very, very good. I think the remake would be excellent. I'll definitely check it out, I think. Yeah, I think Edward, there's a reasonable argument to be made for going for him. There's a reasonable argument to be made for not going for him and just trying to stockpile resources for the future. And yeah, I think the Titan event is not all that important. That's tied in with it. So there you go. Let me know in the comments. Are you going for Edward? Let's check out the summon events. Let's go. All right, so our summon events are not for the Guardian Ring. They're for clan versus clan. I'll be streaming tomorrow when this goes live for a couple of hours, probably. 2 to 3 hours usually. I will be streaming. It's not personal rewards. This is a nice chill CVC. One fun thing I've seen people point out, there is an event dungeon objectives in here, which is weird because there's no event dungeon. So I don't know, maybe that's just always there these days. I'm not sure, but hey, look, it is what it is. Anyway, look, this is a chill CVC. I will be hanging out. Come hang out on the stream. We will chat. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Obviously, I'll be playing around with Alaz. Now that we've got Alaz, we could play with him a little bit more and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what we'll do. I'll come up with a plan. It's going to be pretty chill anyway. Just hang out. Yeah, have a good time for CVC. It's always a good... It's one of my favorite parts of covering Raid is, the CVC streams. It's nice. I used to cover Heroes of the Storm back in the day, which was like Blizzard's answer to League of Legends and Dota, essentially. And that was fun, but my God, I used to stream a lot of that, and it was very stressful. I just found it stressful. It was bad for my health. Streaming Raid is a whole different ball. I mean, I love it. Anyway, that's sort of beside the point, but I love it. But let's dive into this. We've got the summon events for CVC. I'm expecting these to be pretty good because it's not a great time to pull. We've got a guaranteed champion event coming up later in the week. And then, we'll have a new fusion starting soon-ish as well, right? Like we should come to the end of Pelops. I don't know when it ended or if it has ended, but yeah, Pelops probably done. It's probably gone, but there you are. So these are the champions that we have, and I want to update my tier list as well. We've got the 4 new Argonites to throw in there, and yeah, we might make a few quick changes. So yeah, let me read through these just so you know what's coming up. We've got Blade Carster Kaldor, Vestel Riverthorn. She is new. She's a nice new damage dealer for the Sylvans. Elva Autumnborn, Grand Oak Podrick, Balar the Lost. That is a solid day. These are all excellent Sylvan champions. Then we've got Shadowkin the next day. Tetsuya, he's the faction unity, so is Kaldor. Yukimasa, Harima, Arashi the Riptide, and Lady Kimmy. I mean, out of all of it, I think Arashi is just bad. I think Lady Kimmy has lost quite a bit of value as well. So I'd be saying they're the 2 lower value ones. I think Arashi is just an objectively bad champion. Well, when I say bad, I think he's mediocre. For a champion that you'd be chasing in a 15x event, I just don't see any situation where you would ever chase him. Lady Kimmy is definitely a champion that people would certainly have chased in the past. I don't think it's super valuable right now. She brings in like turn meter boost, increase accuracy, increase speed. She was nice for bomb teams. I just don't think that bomb debuff teams like that, speed teams, are just a sensible thing to invest in 2026. We've got Total Guard. It's just risky. I can certainly see you building a team around Mikage, an ally attack to rip through Total Guard, and she give you a bit of a, she's not awful, not great against Stone Skin, but you could make something work as well. She could remove it potentially in her alternate or remove it with her A2. It could happen. You have some options there. I just don't think Kimmy is all that crazy hot right now compared to these other options. So yeah, I'll say I'd not recommend her or him. Harima I think is still good. I think Harima is still excellent. She's a strong combo with Mikage. So one cool thing she does is the A2, stacks up her defense up to 100% extra. That makes her a strong champion for any longer fights. All the clan bosses are a classic example. And yeah, if you don't have Ninja, if you don't have Toshiro, she's probably the next best champion to pair up with Lady Mikage. She's pretty similar in quality to these champions, and she's different affinity as well for Chimera, which is fairly useful. So she's got quite a decent bit of value, and her passive makes enemy ignore defense weaker, which is very strong. We also do have some more stronger, like Bayek is a time-limited champion for sure, but Bayek is a good increased defense champion to up her damage that didn't exist before. I think it's always a bit tricky to get good increased defense champions for defense-based damage. That's another option for her. I think she's strong. Yukimasa, I think, is nowhere near as strong. He's okay. Tetsuya would be... I put him maybe a little lower than Harima, to be honest. So I've got Yukimasa. He's, you know, he can hit hard. I feel like I'm a little disappointed from him compared to my initial impressions, where I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. And then I was like, okay, he's... For my account, basically where I'm at with Yukimasa, I said, okay, if I give him my best gear, he's very, very strong. But I have better champions to put my best gear on. And if he doesn't have my best gear, he's not actually that useful. It's like he's a reviver, which is decent for Faction Wars, but because he's a damage dealer as well, and he's a very good damage dealer, it's just difficult to maximize both of those things. It's just, you know, a reviver damage dealer is... There's a reason the most popular revivers tend to be the super tanky revivers, because it's like, you build them with speed and HP, you can optionally give them resistance, and hey, it's super easy to build, and they're incredibly strong. This guy's very, very intensive. And yeah, you know, he's not as good as a lot of other top tier damage dealers, so it's hard to invest the gear. And then, yeah, I don't know. He is helpful for sure for Faction Wars. Is he as good as these other ones? I don't know. Tetsuya, Faction Unity, he's cool. He can hit hard. I think he's worse to fight as an enemy for waves. I think his biggest move is the A3, which steals all turn meter and puts True Fear. Now the thing here, it attacks all enemies with high turn meter if he's got a Shadowkin team. So he's a beast and he can hit hard. But because he doesn't have a scaling thing like Harima or Ninja, he's nowhere near as good as them. Or Toshiro. He's nowhere near as good with Mikage. His A1 is not that good. His active skills are where it's at. Like, this move can hit really hard. So he's not really anywhere near as good for clan bosses. He's not really usable in PvP, to be honest. Like, you don't have the supports to really make it work. He might be okay for Siege, but I don't know. Like, I'm sure he is decent for Siege, but I feel like that's not too relevant to people. I think he's okay. I've got him. He's good. He's great for Faction Wars. He's great for Cursed City. He's cool. But I think Harima is probably more useful to most players, to be completely honest. So I put Harima first on this day, would be my thoughts there. Over here, Kaldor, Vestel, Elva, Podrick, and Balar. It's a better selection. Kaldor is cool. Let me do the lines over here. Kaldor is cool. Let me actually put Harima as... Let's make them longer so we can see. Kaldor, I say, is probably a bit more useful. I think he's sort of similar, to be honest. I think he's sort of similar to Tetsuya in the sense of, like, where do you use him? Where is he good? He has a lot of debuffs, right? He's decreased defense and weaken. He can be putting out poisons. He can explode poisons. He can give himself perfect veil. He's got an AoE A1 stun. Like, he's a monster for Faction Wars. Like, he really is strong for Faction Wars. He's probably decent for Siege. The problem with Siege is these three are incredible Siege champions, and then you've got Neve. So are you ever going to fit Kaldor into a Siege team? Like, Neve is 100% locked in. Nice is 100% locked in. I mean, Nell and Arbase, like, Nell is probably 90% locked in, and Arbase is probably like 80% locked in. Like, I don't see where Kaldor really comes into Siege, to be honest. So not really that useful for Siege. He's okay for clan bosses. You know, he can do a bunch of trials, but I don't know. I feel like he's a heavy investment. I think he's fun. I think he's cool, but I put him sort of similar to Tetsuya. They're both cool. They're not must-have champions, but they are faction unities. They are rare. They are unique. They are fun. I think they are very fun champions, which is perhaps the most important thing. But yeah, you know, you don't need to have him. You're fine. He's very good, but you're fine. Vestel is pretty cool. I put Vestel a bit ahead. Vestel hits extremely hard. She's like Georgia 2.0. Now, she's magic affinity, so she can weak hit against force, and there's heavy force meta right now, but her damage is crazy. I was like, she's got a 50-50 to do double damage if their attack is lower than hers. She has incredibly high attack. She self-buffs increased attack. She ignores block damage and stone skin, which is extremely useful. She has unkillable counterattack on herself, so she's good against total guard with a counterattack. She's, difficult to kill with unkillable. Give her lightning cage. She's strong. I was thinking, okay, 50-50 to do double damage is like, is it 50-50 that either her damage is 50% of the time it's bad, and then 50% of the time it's good? No, it turns out 50% of the time it's good, and 50% of the time it's batshit crazy. There's loads of damage. But I think she's a bit of a glass cannon. And again, although she's insane, you've got such strong competition these days in PvP. So I think she's very strong. I would certainly recommend her. I think she's good. But yeah, like I think somewhat similar to Harima, maybe a little bit less useful. I don't think she's quite as good in PvE content. It's hard to have more attack than many of the bosses in the game. It's just a bit of a pain. I think Harima is slightly more valuable, but they're similar. Elva, I think, is excellent. I'm going to put, Elva and Grand Oak Podrick equal to Harima, to be honest. And Balar, maybe just a bit. But actually, I'll put Balar as sort of the same sort of level as Vestel. So, yeah, you're looking at sort of Harima, Podrick, and Elva. I think Podrick is super good. He's got support is a bit more valuable, good aura, but increased speed, turn boost, buff removal, full team ally attack, with a full restore of destroyed max HP and continuous heal, cooldown reduction on his A1, providing the buffs that you need every time he takes a turn. It's great. He's a solid champion. I think he's very nice. I just think he ends up being very useful in a ton of content, like especially Fire Knight, obviously with the ally attack. He's actually pretty surprisingly good in Arena, and people really underestimate him. Yeah, he's certainly not meta. He's not top tier. Probably a bit more useful in Siege, but I mean, he is good. And then Elva is excellent as well. Like debuff removal, block debuffs, increase speed, single target revive, healing on the A1, healing passive, speed in all battles aura, good base stats. Elva is just actually also pretty underrated in PvP. She's decent, not top tier, but decent. And she's very strong for any PvE stuff you want to do. She's just bringing you increased speed, block debuffs, or super good buffs, buff removal, and healing and reviving. Super safe to slot into any teams. I just find Elva tends to be very, very valuable. And that's what I think. Oh, I didn't mention Balar, but Balar is pretty interesting. I think Balar is a high investment champion. I do hope that they will bring in area bonuses for Chimera, which will help him. So he is a poison champion with lots of buffs and debuffs, and he can do damage as well. He gets ignore defense. He can hit hard. He's an excellent Chimera champion, but it's very difficult to make him work. I tried to make him work, and it's very hard without extremely good gear and a big blessing and something like a Cat's Gaze or a big Arethi Coronet. Like you kind of need some big investment for him to actually work in Chimera. What I found was try to use him in there, and he's not going to hit hard enough to do the do 750k in a single hit. Really difficult to actually make that happen. Like that's not easy. But he does bring in high direct damage, though it's very intensive to build. But increased accuracy, decreased resist, and poisons, opening up lots of Chimera trials. Leech, poison activation, both opening up more Chimera trials. Poison sensitivity, shield as well. Again, they're helping. He's very good for Chimera trials. And also, he's putting out AoE poisons and then activating them as well. So that's also very useful for some potential dungeon wave farming or faction wars. He's cool. I think he's pretty interesting. I think he is harder to use. I think he's difficult to use, to be honest. So I would put the other three first, but it's pretty close. So I'd say for me, Elva and Podrick, and I'd say Harima as well, all come first. I put, Balar and Vestel second. I put Kaldor and Tetsuya third. Yukimasa is a bit harsh. I put him fourth. You could reasonably pull for all of these. I would not go for Arashi or Kimi. I mean, it's a bit harsh maybe on Kimi. I maybe put her something like that. Like, she's not a bad champion. She's just not great. Arashi I just wouldn't go for. From the Voids, Neve, Emek, Eilil, Yumiko, Riho, Jingwan. I mean, there's an obvious winner here. It's not even close, which is Neve. Neve is insane. She's like absolutely absurdly good. She's one of the best champions right now. I mean, they've been bringing out more ignore block damage champions to counter her a bit, but she is absurdly good in PvP. She can effectively be a free win in many situations in Arena for most players. You bring out a Neve, what can the enemy do? It's kind of like a must-ban champion, and that can be a nightmare. Like, you've got a Fabian, you pick a Neve, and they're going like, ugh. Or you throw in a Neve, and then you pick Predator, and it's like, what? You know, like, she's one of those, she's top tier in PvP. This passive is absurdly good. And then also, there's not that many really good block debuff champions in PvP. And what's really nasty about her is you run her a 9-piece protection to make the block damage protected. That means if she gets to her A3, she can get up a protected block debuffs 75% of the time per ally as well, potentially protected ally protection. Most champions can't run the 9-piece protection. It makes them quite vulnerable. They're giving up quite a lot, but because protection is so ludicrously strong with her because her passive is so crazy and protection synergizes so well, you can run her a 9-piece protection and she's not going to die. I say like Sifi is another classic example of a good 9-piece protection block debuff champion, but Sifi is vulnerable to just being killed. She's vulnerable to supersonic sets. She's very vulnerable to Hegemon and Calvalax. Neve doesn't have that problem like whatsoever. She is nuts. She can do good damage in the A2. Her A1 has got nice debuffs. She is extremely strong, so she's a clear winner. I think if you don't have Neve, you should pick her up over everything else here. The rest are good, though. They are good. I say Jingwan is the weakest. He's not bad, but not the best. He's the weakest. He's relatively old. I mean, he's got buff removal. He's got block active skills, block buffs. He's pretty decent. You know, he's a decent champ. His passive is cool. You could use that for some event dungeons. It does come up as being useful when, you know, your team gets AoE True Feared by an event dungeon boss. It's happened a few times. Or AoE stunned by an Odin, and he removes it all, which is cool. And he's got block buffs. You know, he's nice. He's a decent champion. I'd say he's certainly the weakest of these. Riho is excellent. Riho is very, very strong. Yeah, it's probably similar to these fellas, to be honest, maybe a little less. Yumiko, I'd say, is very good as well. Emic is good, and Eilil is actually pretty underrated. He's pretty, you know, I put him similar. Yeah, sort of something like this. So I give a strong 1 to Neve, Yumiko 2, 3 to Riho, and like 4 to him. I give even a 5 to him. You could reasonably pull for any of them. I probably wouldn't pull for Jingwan, to be honest. Like, not a champion I'd use my voice. To be honest, I wouldn't go for Emic these days either, to be completely honest. But he's not bad. Like, Emic is cool. But yeah, Yumiko I think is very nice. She does bring in lockout. You can build her in chronophage, you can build her with high resistance, and she can be an anti-lockout as well, which is pretty cool at this meta. She also opens up some cool teams for clan boss, where you're resetting things. She opens up some speed farm teams because you're resetting things. She's a very valuable champion. She has a combo with Karato, which is rubbish because he's not worth using. But she is excellent. Riho is also very good. She's got so many single target debuffs. That really opens up a lot of, again, dungeon speed farming strategies. She's very nice for Chimera. She's got healing with block debuffs. She is cool. I think Riho is good. And then for the Sylvans, Emic is interesting. To be fair, there's not a ton of good unkillable champions, and he is one of them. He also brings cooldown reduction, which is cool. That does open, you know, to be fair, he does open up some interesting Titus teams. I guess we should probably put him joint 4th at Eilil, to be honest. And really, they're not that far behind Riho. Yeah, probably should. He can, to be fair, he can do some cooldown reduction, auto-friendly Titus teams, and that is valuable. And yeah, he can be kind of cool in Arena as well. And, you know, I think Bronco did about 1 million videos. You can check any one of them out. I think they're all sort of the same thing, but Emic soloing stuff. Yeah, he's just used the same build for everything. Eilil is real good. Probably not as good, to be fair, in the Mercurial meta. You very good anti-Stone Skin champion after his buff. You can just delete someone through Stone Skin. He gets Stone Skin himself. Then he's a big AoE nuke. The main thing about him is this. He gets 10% turn meter whenever he receives a buff, and you could combine him with champions who give you a lot of buffs at the start of the fight. The most famous, of course, being Nekret the Great, who would automatically give him block debuff, strength, and ally protection. 3 buffs. 30% turn meter. Eilil, in theory, is the fastest. The champion, apart from Hegemon, he is the second champion for it. This champion goes first in arena if you build him right and you've got the right team, which is cool. And then he could start to leading people. Check out Tyraku. Tyraku has many videos on Eilil. Check out, Bronco for Emic, Tyraku for Eilil if you want to see them in action. Now I think about it, I will say, I think Eilil probably loses value. I like him, but he's probably losing value, to be honest, with Mercurial. Because, sure, he's really fast. He's got one massive single target hit. But if half the champions are sitting there in total guard, he literally does nothing. So to be fair, actually, he probably falls off. So, yeah. You know what? I think, actually, we can't... Unfortunately, I think I can't recommend him as much as I thought. I think actually he will be falling off. I think he's still very good. Obviously, if you're not fighting many people in Mercurial, he's excellent, but probably wouldn't pull for him. Yeah, that is fair. It's very unfair of me to mark champions down like Kimmy, but not to mark Eilil down. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I would say something like, Neve is the clear number one. She goes off the page. Woo! Neve is the clear winner of the Voids. It's not even close. I'd say Yumiko is the clear second place. Riho and Emic both do some cool teams in PvE. They're not necessary, but they do some cool stuff that are worth having. You might pull for them. You might not. You definitely, I think you'd be going for Neve and Yumiko before those for sure, but they're cool. Eilil is interesting, but to be fair, the meta shift, probably not good to him. And Jingwan is not a bad champ, but not too exciting. Same as Kimmy, not a bad champ, not too exciting. Arashi's just bad. Harima is still great. Elva and Podrick are still great. They're not the best of the best from these shards, but they're good. The faction unities are fine. Yukimasa's somewhat useful. Balar's pretty cool, but high investment. It's not a bad 15x. Do we have even time to do the tier list? Let me just bang it out quickly. Keberon, I haven't tested him yet, so we'll leave him somewhat to the side. I'm suspecting he's probably about A tier from how I'm ranking it. Definitely better than average. AoE burn, decent damage, and block revive, but he's a bit squishy. He's got the cheat death. I think he's going to end up in A, but we'll see. We'll leave him there for now. Pelops, I think, is probably going to be like B+. I think Pelops, I'm fairly certain he's like above average. He's useful. He does some cool stuff. Maybe he could make it into A. I think B+ feels about right. I've been like, oh, he's cool. I like him. I'll use him, but not game breaking. Hecaton seems extremely good. He is probably going to be A+, potentially even S. I've not seen enough of him right now. I'm leaning towards he's probably going to end up in S, but I'm not entirely sure. And Pallas, I think for me, Pallas is S. I think she's very like, Ancora. I think she's excellent. I think she's basically Elva, Autumnborn, but better, right? I think she's like, a bit more useful. She's sort of a combination between Mikage and Elva, which I think is incredibly good. And if I was to move anything in here, to be honest, I'm very tempted. Let me just mark stuff for now. This video is long enough, but in terms of champions who might move down, I'd be very, very tempted to... I'll do watch list, the old watch list, and you guys can comment and let me know as well. I think Noose probably should come down into S. I think, he's not as good as these other ones. Arman's could, in theory, be on the watch list as well, though he is excellent. Anything else up here that probably should come down now? Sulfurion, I think he's still very useful for PvE. Obviously, in PvP's in a bad way. We could watch list him for now, I suppose. It wouldn't really hurt. I'd say for watch list for going up, I think I'm almost certain to put Fabian. I think Fabian needs to go up. I think that's sort of no question. I think the others are excellent. Solinar maybe should go up. Is he good for PvE though? This is an overall list, right? It's PvE and PvP, just sort of both in general. For other stuff that might go up or down, I don't know. Don't want to go too much worrying about it in depth, but it's probably enough for now. There's one actually I do want to move up for sure. I think very impressed by her. Glacea. she got reworked, moved her up from like C to A or something like that. I think actually she should be. In fact, you know what? We don't need to mark her. I'm actually just going to do it right now. I'm certain that she is actually extremely good now and super helpful. Fits the meta very well. Great champion. I think she's actually A+. Such a strong anti-lockout champion. So yeah, there's definitely quite a bit that we could tweak around here, to be honest. I see lots of, I could move lots of things up or down a tier or so. But overall, yeah, let me know what you think. By the way, Edward, I do have Edward in like B+, which I think is fine. I didn't really mention much about Edward's soul, but just to cover that quickly as well. Edward, does he benefit from the soul? Yeah, very much so. Like if you want to open with his A2, he needs accuracy if he's not under Veil Perfect Veil. So you kind of want that 5-star for the accuracy. The 1 and 2, 4-star are significant damage boost. It's pretty nice. 6-star, the speed stat from 6-star soul, unfortunately, exists in the game, full stop, I'm afraid to say. But it's extremely impactful on Edward because he is a sort of a hybrid damage dealer. He wants to be fast. He really wants to be fast. He is a fast damage dealer is how he's best, and he really benefits from it. So, yeah, for Edward to be properly useful, I think he needs the 6-star soul, which sucks. I think he also really wants a lens of intangibility. I think it makes him sort of a different champion because it gives him main stat speed, which he really wants, but it gives him perfect veil at the start of the fight, which then enables him to not need accuracy anywhere near as much. He can open with his A2 and have it be irresistible because he starts the fight with veil. And then it gives him loads of ignore defense, which helps him hit way harder, which compensates for the fact that you probably want to ditch Stone's lethal or savage or merciless and just go full speed. So yeah, I think a super high end Edward with a 6-star soul with a lens of intangibility plus 18. I think he's almost a different champion to a regular Edward. So yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think it's probably worth, if you've got some resources, not a bad idea to grab the champion. If you like to collect them all and you like him. The soul, I don't know. Is it worth investing? Do you even have the ability to get a 6-star soul for him? Do you even have a lens of intangibility to give to him? And then the question is, if you do, would it be worth it? So, for example, for me, I've got a lens of intangibility on Predator. I think he's better. If I had a second lens of intangibility, I'd probably put it on Lazarius. I think he's better. And then I've got a few other champions as well. For a 6-star soul, I would really like to get that for Hilvy, actually. So there you go. I mean, that's my next 6-star locked in. Naldua would be another decent one. So that's my next, 2 years of Essence locked in. Don't even need to think about it. We got to, it's great actually. Now every 4 times a day, I get to check out, what do I not have any currency to purchase today? Cool. Even more often. But yeah, look, that's where we are at. I'll post the tier list update on the thing, but I think it gives you a bit of an overview. Naldua, I actually will mark Naldua as well while I'm thinking about it. I might throw in a couple more of these, and I'll just write up a thing on the Discord actually of why I might move things up or down in the tier list. I do think I might move Naldua up a little bit though, to maybe A+. Yeah, I'll take another gander at the tier list and decide. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it helpful. In terms of like HH ratings on the website and whatnot, I'd say like a 5-star would be both S and S+. I give them both 5 stars really, and then like A+ would be a 4.5 and A would be a 4, that sort of thing. B+ is like a 3.5 star. So yeah, just to give you a brief overview, but yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.